everyone, welcome to Empowering the Artist Within. I'm Liz Ross and I'm here to inspire and uplift you through meaningful conversations and powerful affirmations. Today's episode is a gentle but powerful discussion about being afraid to be seen and showing up before you feel ready. We talked a little bit about this during the previous episode with Kaiser, and I felt I needed to talk a little bit more about it. If you've ever held back your ideas, your art, or your voice because it feels like it wasn't good enough, then this conversation is for you. So grab a cuppa, find a cozy spot, and let's explore what it means to show up anyway, with compassion, courage, and creativity. Hi everyone, so today we are going to talk about courage and showing up. And we talked about this a few episodes ago, but I would like to just talk about it in a little bit more detail and talking about being imperfect when we show up and what that means, because I feel that there's this moment before we share our work when everything in us says, wait until it's better, but what if now is enough? And this is something that I continually struggle with. And it's something that I have to really work hard to continue to show up and continue to find the courage to be imperfect and to take that next step. And I feel that it's something that a lot of people resonate with and can relate to. So I think that often we wait for that perfect moment or idea to feel ready to show up. We're always thinking that we need to wait until it's perfect and then it will be okay. But that time rarely comes. And in the episode where I was interviewing Kaiser, she was talking about the fact that she ran workshops before she was ready, and she's so glad that she did, because if she hadn't have done, she never would have taken that step. And by doing that, it gave her so much confidence to continue. And she grew so much in so many different areas in her art and in her journey of self-discovery, just by taking that step to do something that she wasn't quite ready for. And it's something that I'm really resonating with at the moment, because I want to run my own workshops, and I have done that in the past, and that's been absolutely fine. Although there were definitely times before each workshop where I would plan my workshop and I would have that moment where there was the fear that it wasn't going to be good enough for what I'd planned, and should I change it? And the amount of times that I would come up with another plan and then realize that actually the first plan probably was fine and I didn't need to change it. But it's that self-doubt creeps in and you just think you just want it to be right, and people are paying you, so it has to be perfect. But really, perfection is just a mask for fear. And what are we fearing? We're fearing being judged, we're fearing failure, we're fearing not being good enough. When it's something like the workshops, for example, and people are going to be paying me, my fear of it not being perfect is that people are paying for a service and I won't be able to deliver on that. But actually, they're investing in me as a person, they're investing in my energy and the experience that I can bring. And therefore, what that looks like, it probably doesn't really matter, because what I put out there and what I offer, people will be able to relate to, they will be able to experience it in a positive way, because they're investing in me and not what I'm offering, if that makes sense. So it's a difficult one to kind of really put into words, but I think that there's definitely a desire to stay safe, and it's that real worry that something could happen if we put ourselves out there and it goes wrong. So at the moment, I've got this idea for a workshop that I want to do with my affirmation art, and I am starting to commit to some dates and put these workshops out there. And I'm not very good at committing to things. I'm not good at being organized, at planning things in advance. And when I think about why that is, I wonder if it's because there is a worry that it won't be good enough. And therefore, if I just don't do it, then I'm keeping myself safe from the fear of failure, from being judged, from it falling flat on its face. But actually, if I don't take that risk, then I don't know what will happen. And it's okay if it fails, because what's the worst? That people have invested money and they don't come back, that they're not happy, that they didn't enjoy it. And okay, that wouldn't be great. Obviously, I wouldn't be happy with that, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I think I'm trying to do this, and then I'm making excuses about why I can't do a particular date. Um, I'm worried I've got too much on and I'm not going to be able to fulfill it. And realistically, when I really think about it, I know that's not the case. I know that if I put one workshop on in June, I will absolutely be able to run that workshop. So then I have to think about, well, why am I making these excuses when I know it's something I want to do and therefore I'm committing to it? But then these self-doubts and the inner critic are coming in and trying to keep me safe and tell me that it's not the right time. I'm not ready yet. I need to be absolutely, I need to have everything ready and planned and know what I'm doing before I go ahead. And that's just not true. That's just limiting beliefs and probably a bit of self-sabotage. So I'm just telling you this really because I know that so many people feel the same way. And when you can see that people are doing things, like, for example, if I didn't share this conversation with you and you saw that I'm putting on 2 workshops and then I do them and they are successful and I share those pictures and I share the feedback and I share the paintings people make, then you could be led to believe that I feel really confident about it. And I haven't gone through this whole process of really having to take the courage to show up imperfectly and to just do it and see what's going to happen. If it fails and it doesn't work and I share that process with you, then that's also great because you see that I took the risk and I did it and it didn't work, and I have to see what learning I can take from it. And then I try it again, maybe in a different way. And that is also so important because we think that if we fail, that's it. We have to give up, like it's not going to get any better, or, we're just not good enough. But that's not true because you have to do things in order to learn and get better. So even if I do it and it goes well, there's still going to be a huge learning curve. I'm still going to take loads from it. And I know that I'm going to be able to do it again better next time. And that's even more reason to start sooner, because the sooner I get started, the quicker I can learn and the quicker I can improve and the better I can make the next workshop. So I think that it's just important to really talk about this, and even for me to kind of remind myself constantly that it's okay to show up imperfectly, and that creatively I'm not going to grow unless I take risks, unless I try things. And in order to run a workshop and teach you, I will benefit from that hugely because my skills will improve, and I might have to think about my process and how I can translate that so that you can create something beautiful that you love and that you enjoy and that you get to take away. And that's a really big learning for me as well. So I think there is a lot to learn, and there's a lot of growth that happens when you can take the courage to show up in different ways. And my word for the year is expansion. And I've definitely expanded hugely already. We're in June now, 2025. And throughout this year, there are so many huge steps that I've taken that have enabled me to expand. And they've all taken courage. So if we think about the podcast, I've wanted to host a podcast since 2017. And that's a long time to not take the courage and show up and do something. And it's kind of sad, really, that all those years have passed of me wanting to do this and just not feeling comfortable. And the amount of times I've thought of things that I want to say, and I've almost had that like internal dialogue, but I've not even been able to say it out loud. I've not even been able to record it on just on my phone, knowing that nobody's going to hear it. And it's taken 8 years, slowly, step by step, just doing little things, showing up, talking to people, going on a Zoom, trying to talk on the Zoom, turning my camera on, writing in the chat. I mean, some people will relate that even writing in the chat is really stressful. I'll write something and then I'll be like, when's the right moment to press send? Um, and some people will just think that's crazy. They just won't relate to that at all. They just will not have an issue typing the chat, turning their microphone on and just jumping in and having a conversation. But I worry that I might talk over somebody, or is it the right moment? And then by the time you've kind of got yourself ready to say what you want to say, the time's passed. So then it's like, do I put it in the chat or shall I just leave it? So there's all this that has gone on behind the scenes, getting me ready to show up now and talk to you. And we can perceive, people that are doing these things as really confident and that, oh, they can do it and I can't. And honestly, that's not always the case. So you could see me showing up here, recording my podcast, talking to you. But what you didn't see was the years when I'd record myself talking on my phone, even just into my voice notes, and not even be able to say hi, and record it over and over again, and record videos on my phone and record them over and over again, like 15, 20, 25 times before I even got maybe a couple of minutes where I felt comfortable enough to share it. And that's gone on for so long. And that's led me to now feel like I can come and I can just chat and I can talk to you. And even now, like I'm going red, I can feel myself going red because I don't know, just that's just me. That's the way I am. When the spotlight's on me, I get like, I guess, anxious and maybe a bit stressed, and that comes out in my blood flow. But obviously you can't see that, although I am filming this one for YouTube. And again, when I first started, that wasn't even a thing. It was just talking to my phone and put that out. But now I'm thinking to myself, let's try and record on Zoom, and then I can put this video out onto YouTube and let's see how that goes. But that's taken time. So it's just like what we were talking about with Kaiser in the last episode, about just taking those small steps. It's slow progress, and not everyone will relate to that, and that's absolutely fine. This might not be it. It might not be relevant to you at all. You might not have any trouble showing up, but I know a lot of us do, especially when we're talking creatively or talking in front of people, people that are a little bit more introverted, quieter types, shyer types like I am and like Kaiser is. It's just harder for us. And so the conversation that we were having last week, and Kaiser was saying like it's taken her a long time. But again, she's now got her course out and she's got a free course on her website. And you could look at her and think that she's really confident, but equally, when she told us her story, she was also saying that she struggles and she has to find the courage to show up and talk, and even sharing her story was really tough. And so I just think it's important for you to know that you can get there. And for me to, I have to constantly remind myself. So yesterday I did some painting for the first time. I haven't in quite a while. I've been doing a lot of work for the podcast, and I've been doing a lot of work on my website and just admin things behind the scenes. And I've been doing a lot of digital drawing on my iPad, which I absolutely love. But there's also nothing like just getting your hands dirty, feeling the materials and painting. And I don't do it as often as I like because I'm busy, I've got three children, and it's a busy home life, and I just do find that getting the paints out is it's a big deal. There's a lot to it. It's not just let's just slap some paint on. I hate the getting everything out and then washing it and putting it all away. In fact, I've still got rollers in the sink from about 3, 4 weeks ago when I just couldn't be bothered to wash them out. Now the paint's dried, and I've got to figure out whether I can salvage them before having to throw them away. So that's why digital is better for me. But I love creating, and I love just getting the materials out. And at the moment, I'm doing Kaiser's Keys to Mindful Art Journaling course, and it's just beautiful. And I got some materials out yesterday, and I started creating, and I was really enjoying myself. And then I sent her photos of what I'd done, and I sent her a message and I said, I just don't know where to take these now. And this always happens to me. I start creating, whether it's an art journal piece or on a canvas, and I'm really happy and I'm really enjoying myself. And then I get to a point where I stop and I just don't know where to go. And it's a bit like we call it, well, I call it the kind of messy teenager stage. And it's like that stage where it's really beautiful, but it still needs work, and you're just not quite sure where it goes. And often at this stage, I think I've completely messed everything up. And why did I do this, or why didn't I do that? And oh, it's rubbish, and I'm rubbish, and all this negative self-talk's coming in. I don't know why people think I can do this, and I don't know why people believe in me, and why people say I'm talented because I'm just not, and look at this work and it's rubbish and I can't do this, and I'm not going to be able to do these workshops because who am I to tell these people that, show people how to create when I can't even, bring a piece to kind of finish, to like a finished piece. I'm not going to be able to do this. And all this goes on in my head, and it is really, it's just not nice. And it's just the fear, isn't it? Because nothing has to be perfect, but you just get to that point. And I think it's important to share that we all go through it. Um, and it's just that inner critic saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. I don't know why you think you're good enough. Who do you think you are? And anyway, so that's why having somebody that you can message and talk to, or having a community around you, can really help. Because I messaged Kaiser, and of course, she was amazing and she loved what I'd already done, and she gave me some suggestions. But one of the things that she said, and I knew it, and this is something that is really actually really important to remember, is that she said maybe you just need to give it some space. And it's funny because one of the pieces actually I haven't touched for years, probably like 3, 4 years, this canvas, and I just took it out and I thought, oh, let's see if we can do anything with it. It's got some really nice texture and colours, and maybe I can move it forward. And actually, this has ended up being so beautiful. It's like one of my favourite pieces that I've created recently. And if I can, I'll pop a picture. I've worked out how to do the show notes now on my website, but it's just going to take me time to get the episodes on there. But I'll put a photograph on that. So you'll be able to see the one that I'm talking about. That piece I'd left for a long time. So I moved these pieces on, and then I think I had to stop for some reason. So I went off anyway, and I happened to leave them. But that was also her suggestion, to just give them some space and see what I felt like doing when I came back. So I did do that. And when I came back, I kind of looked at them, and I just gave myself some time with them. And then I continued with two. And one of them particularly, which was the one that I was talking about, which has kind of got like a bit of a silhouette of leaves. It's just beautiful. they're both really beautiful now, and I moved them forward, and I did have the ideas and I was able to do it. But I think what got me stuck is the thing that I harp on about all the time. It's about the process, not the end result. But yet, when you're in it, you're still fighting for that end result and you forget, even though to me, the whole point is the process. Because for me, it's about the enjoyment and the healing and the mindfulness of the art and the creativity. That's what I do it for. And so, why does it matter then how it looks? At some point, it may get to a point where it's finished and I love it. It may get to a point that it's not finished and I don't love it. And I know that if I don't love it, it's not finished. And again, it might just sit there for years until it's ready to be moved on. It might never get moved on, and that's absolutely fine. The whole point of creativity for me is in the healing. It's in the enjoyment. It's the joy. It's the love. That's what I do it for. I enjoy it. And so I think it's about remembering and reminding myself of that. And the thing is, the more I create, the more I will remember that. But it's when I have that break. And the thing with digital is that it doesn't really happen because you have the ability to go back and erase things. So it's a completely different way of working when you work digitally, because you can erase things, you can copy and paste things. So I could do a drawing and then I could copy that drawing somewhere else and use it, so I don't have to recreate it or redraw it again. So it's a completely different process. And because I've been doing that a lot, I think I kind of just forgot that it's the process. And when I let go of the end result, that's when it moves on. And sometimes things need space. And I also talk a lot about just spending a short amount of time creating. And that was one of the things that when I first came back to art, I didn't realize. I thought I needed hours. Like, you see people spending hours in the studio. I thought I needed hours. And I thought, well, there's no point in even getting started because I've only got 10 minutes, or I've only got 20 minutes, or I've only got half an hour. I don't have hours. But actually, for me personally, that's better, because I can't get in my head because I'm not doing it for long enough. And having that break allows me to go away, do something else. And inevitably, when I come back, I can think of something else that I want to do next. So yeah, I'm not really sure what that had to do with taking the courage to show up imperfectly, really. But it was just that I guess it's all tied in with that not being good enough and it needing to be perfect. And when I was doing that work yesterday, it was already leading me on to, well, you're not good enough to run the workshops because you can't even finish these pieces. And then when you think about it and you say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous. Like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous. But it just seems so real to you at the time. And I think you just have to have things in place to help you so that you don't stay stuck for too long, and things that can give you the courage to continue and to show up. And so I did share in the course group, I did share those canvases. And of course, and I shared them before, like during the process. And then at the end, when I was really happy, I put them in, and I did feel so happy, of course, when they'd come together, but I still enjoyed the process. So had I have not been able to kind of finish them, like a couple of them are still a work in progress, and that's great, because now I can start a few more and I can continue with those. And that's another thing that I didn't realize when I came back to my art, is that it's nice to have a lot of things going on at once. So I'm not just creating on one piece, because then the perfectionism can really kick in, because you just want that one piece done and it can just stay stagnant for quite a while. So having a variety of pieces that you're working on, and everything will get finished at different stages, so then you can bring in fresh ones, and then your energy's moving, and therefore the piece is moving forward. And if there's something that is stuck, you can just leave it until you're ready to come back to it and kind of reignite it. So I think that's really just an important thing to kind of highlight as well, because there are a lot of things that you kind of find your way and you find out about as you're doing your art. And for me, that those some of those things, like I just thought you worked on one painting at a time. I never even thought that working on different pieces together, like a few pieces together, was even a thing. And that's been amazing for me because I absolutely love that. And whilst something's drying, you can be working on something else and flip between the two. And you might love one thing on one thing and not on another. And so if something's not quite working so well, you don't get down about it because you're like, right, well, I've got this other one, so I'll just work on that. So that's really helpful. And just a nice thing to kind of chat about. But I just think that we just kind of have to be authentic. And I feel like that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. Like, I just I just want you guys to know that we all kind of have these feelings and thoughts. And the other thing that's important is that I am quite a quiet and shy person. And therefore, like, if I was to walk in the room and there was a lot of people, I might stand there on my own and feel really uncomfortable and not really know what to do and who to speak to. And by putting myself out there and going to networking, which I've been doing since February, that's completely changed. I don't fear being in a room with people on my own now. I'll just go talk to them. And like a couple of years ago, that was not the case. A couple of years ago, I would have stood there and just been like, oh my goodness, I actually don't know what to do. I don't know who to speak to. This is really uncomfortable. I don't like this. I don't want to be here. But now I love it because I want to speak to different people. I want to hear about them. I want to hear their stories. I want to know about what they're doing and what their lives are like and were like and what led them to where they are now. And I find that so interesting. So I just guess I've reframed it and it's made a massive difference. And my confidence has grown because I threw myself into the networking and being in that position where you walk in, you don't know anybody and it's hard and you just take a little bit of confidence each time you go. Your confidence just grows that little bit. And now I like can't wait. I look forward to it. I want to meet new people. So, I'm just trying to show up as I am. I'm trying to be authentic. And I think I'm trying to remind myself that, for example, with the workshops, like it's okay if they're not quite right yet. They will they will improve, but I have to start. You have to start somewhere because if you don't ever start, you can't get to where you want to get to. You're never going to be perfect. Well, you're never going to be perfect anyway, but you're never going to be close to doing it a certain way if you don't even start. You can't get there without the experience. So that's why it matters so much to show up because we can't grow if we're hiding. And actually, by sharing, even but just by sharing our work imperfectly, that's what creates connection. People people connect to authenticity. They don't connect to perfection. So if you show up as you are, people will love that and they will love you for it. So I think sharing before you really feel fully ready is just so important. And I'm saying this as much for me as I am to you. So I will put these workshops on and I'm sure they will be successful and I'm sure there will be a lot of learning and I will pop back on and I will talk to you about my experience. And that will be really interesting to kind of have had this episode where you can see and hear how I feel and what I want them to be like. And then for me to come back and talk about how the experience was and how it went. Like I say, I have done them before, but they were more kind of like in the community, and therefore I feel like it wasn't as much like I don't know. I had the same feelings with those. Um, Especially I remember during lockdown when I was starting to run workshops on Zoom and I was doing it with children. And as a primary school teacher, I was used to teaching children. And a lot of my friends asked me to run adult workshops, and I had all these same feelings. Who am I to teach adults? I've never taught adults before. I've only just got started on my art journey. I don't know what I'm doing. I won't be good enough. I can't do it. They were amazing. They were fantastic workshops. Everyone loved them. I loved them. The work that was produced was incredible. People were drawing that never knew they could even draw, and what they were drawing was amazing. And during that time, they had a period where they were able to express themselves creatively in a way that potentially they hadn't done before, or like me, hadn't done since they were young. So I know I can do it, but I just need to have that confidence. And that's really important because actually you give off a different energy when you're confident. So, like I was saying before about being shy and quiet when I used to walk into rooms, it gives off a different energy. That gives off an energy of like maybe a bit negative, or, you're not interested, you don't want to be there. And that's not the case. It's just because I was scared. But I have to be confident because that gives off my true energy, which is passionate and excited and joyful and loving and interested. And so if I'm not confident, I won't give any of that off. And therefore, people will get a different idea and view of me that isn't authentic. So you just have to take a bit of courage and a little bit of confidence and just try and be as authentic as you can and just show up as your best version of yourself. And then you'll fly and just see what happens. It will be amazing. So, yeah, I think just really be compassionate to yourself. That's a really important point, and it's something that we need to just give ourselves and know that it's hard, but we can do hard things. And just give yourself permission. Remind yourself that you don't have to be an expert to be valuable. You do have a lot to give. You are allowed to try. You might not get it quite right, but that's okay. Just keep going. I am here doing this podcast because I've just kept going and I love it. It's my favorite thing, one of my favorite things. I love creating and bringing beautiful products and prints and artwork to you, but I love having these conversations so much. It brings me so much joy, and I love it when I get messages from people who resonate and say to me, I didn't realize you felt like that. And that gives me a lot of confidence. It helps me to feel like I can show up and I can do things. And that ripple effect is huge because I can give that to you, then you can give that to other people, and that just keeps going and going. That's incredible. So you are allowed to show up imperfectly and just keep going. And being imperfect is so powerful. You just need to remember that. You don't have to be fearless. I'm definitely not fearless. I am quite scared. But you have to just be willing. Just willing to try, willing to have a go, willing to see what happens. So I would love for you to let your presence be more important than what you want to achieve. Your presence is more than enough. And it's your presence and your passion that resonates with people. So just remember how important your presence is, because that's what people connect with. Your authenticity and the way you show up, your presence, your personality, that's the thing that people connect with. They don't connect with perfect. They don't want the perfect one. They're waiting to hear your voice and what you've got to say or what you've got to show, but not the perfect voice or the perfect artwork. So just for a closing affirmation, I would like to share this with you. I am allowed to show up as I am. My imperfect presence is powerful and enough. I really hope that some of the things that we've talked about will resonate with you. And I hope that this episode will help you to feel connected and supported, and that you're not the only one that feels this way. And I hope that that will give you some courage and help you feel like you can show up and that you are good enough, and that if you just try, something amazing might just happen. So thank you so much for spending this time with me on Empowering the Artist Within. I really hope that this episode reminded you that your imperfect presence is more powerful than you know, and that being seen just as you are is enough. And again, I say that as a reminder to myself as much as to you. So here are the episode takeaways. You don't have to feel ready to begin. Often, courage comes after the first step, not before. Perfectionism is just fear in disguise. Letting go of perfect opens the door to authentic connection. Your art, your voice, and your ideas are valid, even when they're still evolving. Imperfect action is still powerful action. You're building confidence through the doing. Being vulnerable invites others to do the same. Your courage creates ripple effects. Self-doubt's totally normal. Don't let it be the boss of your creative journey. You are allowed to be both a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. And it's your presence and passion that truly resonate. People connect with your truth, not your perfection. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode with a creative soul who needs a little courage today. It doesn't cost you anything, and it is so helpful to me. I think unless you have your own podcast or know somebody that does, you probably don't really know how important those reviews and those subscriptions are, because it just helps the algorithm to show it to more people, and then that means that more people can connect and hear these words and these conversations. And that's really important, not just for me, for my podcast to grow, but for you and for people like us to be able to get their support and to know that there are people out there that feel the same way and that they can connect with them and have a community of like-minded people. And the fact that it doesn't cost you anything is completely free. If you just follow my show, or go scroll down in Apple Podcasts and leave a review at the bottom, or in Spotify, then that really does help. I'm also looking at, I think it's called Ko-fi, which is a service that will enable you to support the podcast by donating a few pence or pounds, which will just help me cover my costs of running the podcast. I don't make anything from the podcast. It actually costs me money to host it. And I am more than happy to do that because I absolutely love it and I want to give this value to you. But it's just a way of people being able to give me a little bit of support if they want to, as a one-off, just like kind of buying a cup of coffee for a friend. So I will give more details on that in the next episode once I've had a chance to figure it out. If you want to connect with me, over on Instagram, I'm at Art by Liz Ross, and the same on Facebook, TikTok, and also my website is artbylizross.com, where you can go for more inspiration, resources, and our creative community. In fact, creative community is the empowered artist community over on Facebook, and you can join that group where I show up and we have more conversations away from the podcast. So as you head back into your day, I'd love to take this with you. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to show up. Until next time, keep creating and keep believing in yourself.